Oh, looks like I'm back. Yes, I am back. Oh, good Lord. Right, so just bear with me while I check to see where I left off. Just bear with me, folks. And I'm going to go over it again. Uh, 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 um, here. Let me see where. Oh, it's interesting. That was my fault, by the way, guys. I was plugging in my power supply and I accidentally nudged the internet. So entirely my fault. No conspiracy. No conspiracy theory. Where was I, folks? What had I just shown? What was the last thing I showed? I'm looking in the chat. Inhale, calm, exhale, relax. My name is Yusa, thank you. It's that time again. So folks, in the chat, please let me know what's the last thing I showed, so I don't have to leave this area of YouTube, go into my channel, have a look at the last little thing. Because rather than keep it as one stream, it's Santa, brilliant. So what? Okay, good. Right, just bear with me while I set up Windows. Unfortunately, I have closed Windows. Just bear with me. Oh, good gosh. So what am I actually displaying? I'm displaying that. I don't want to give the game away. I will see what this is showing. No. Go back to this. Oh, just bear with me. Let's see. Okay. You're going to have a black screen for a short while. Interesting. Oh, that's very peculiar. Ah, there it is. Nope. Right, so display capture down, window capture down, video capture. Oh, system glitching. Okay, just move that clean out of the way. Move that clean out of the way. There you go. That will do. While I set things up. Hey. All my fault, so nobody to be blamed. Just a second. So I'm now reopening Windows that I had just recently closed. Oh, and I was having fun too. Okay, let me just cue things just right. All for your entertainment. Amusement. There. Better than entertainment. Okay. Right. And so I have this one. Yes. Good gosh. So I'm going to go back to playing the space pawn. Then I have this one. Okay. I have this one. This one. What's this playing? Oh yeah, I don't need to play this one. Just show. Yeah. Okay. It's so interesting when Your best material comes from unintelligent globelings. Best material, I mean, for now, you know. But just bear with me. Go and, make a cup of tea or coffee. Brush your porch if you have a porch. Just, I'll be only a couple of minutes setting things up. So they're nicely embarrassing for the globelings. And it is embarrassing. By the way, if any of you are waiting to see if Where's Wally addressed the question of the Tesla Roadster, he didn't address it. Sorry. It will remain unaddressed, absolutely unaddressed. Wolfie has not addressed it. None of the globelings have addressed it. They can't. It gives the game away. Right, so I have this, but before this I had, oh dear, the Santa. I showed the Santa, okay. What's this? Oh yes, that's a good one. Oh yes, and that's the end. Okay, so here's right. I have a very relaxing Dalek relaxation tape. Aha, I have it. I have what I was looking for. But I won't play that. It might send you to sleep. Oh, come on. Okay, I think I will just, instead of setting everything up, I will just do it on the fly. Right, so I can pause this and see if we have good enough material. So there's this. Yes, I mean just with 2 pieces of footage from Where's Wally, I have enough. And this, great. Right. So we're going to go back to the spaceborne. Just bear with me, folks. What's this? Nope. This one. Here we are. Yep. Position it nicely. There you go, nicely positioned. I can get rid of this. Use less resources. And let's continue. Thanks, Gina, by the way. I could have gone on. I could have done the whole thing. And then, okay, so here we go. Let's go back to this. Ew, disgusting space porn. Music? No, no music. I will give it some kind of voiceover. Oh, lovely pastel sky. Look at that realistic smoke. I mean, it looks very real. But we know this is CGI. Think globelings watching, you know this is CGI. Including that very real looking smoke. Ooh, that's a problem. Oh, there's the Earth. We see the very narrow band of atmosphere. And the stars. And the rockets. The lesbian rockets. Sorry I said it. I had to say it. Lesbian! I've been watching Jesse Lee Peterson. If you haven't watched Jesse Lee Peterson, you have to. He's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant. And he's a Christian. I forgive that. I forgive all Christians. Okay, so that's landing. And And this is where I cut to Santa Claus. Now, watch what I mean by lesbian space porn. Oh dear. Yes, because you see one rocket pointing one way, or other rockets pointing the other. That's right. There might be lesbians listening to this, getting offended, or thinking, actually that's turning me on. I don't know. I'm not a lesbian. Oh, this, the Earth with a narrow band of atmosphere. And then one rocket shoots off, and it probably goes home. All the way home. What about the black rocket? What happens with that one? Black rockets matter too. So, I just thought that was funny, Now, wait a second. This. Orbital sunrise from the ISS. I think this is more like an orbital sunrise. Watch. That's the Earth. Oh. Wait a second. What's going on here? I thought this was from the ISS. That Earth with those lights, and those lights were obviously cities. See, those are cities because the guys who made this are real artists. That's right. That's why they rendered those lights to indicate cities, not small buildings. And there's the sun. So now I'm going to make it a little bit slower. Speed, 25% of the speed. Look. Quarter speed. Look. Something's burning, well, not really burning up, but see, going into cloud and everything. Okay. And this has been done so much by flat earthers that it's like tedious. But globings still can't get it. This is from the movie not Kal-El, Superman, Man of Steel. Kal-El going to Earth, Man of Steel. Okay, now let's go here and close that. So you just saw sunrise. No, apparently this that we're about to see is sunrise. Keep watching. See those panels? That's a bit of the sun's rays reaching not the surface of the Earth. No, it's reaching the panels of this object that's 250 miles up in the air. Okie doke. Just carry on watching. More illumination. Still not illuminating the Earth. Of course, it's looking into the night side of the Earth. See? Oops. Oopsie daisies. That was Wally's footage. It was just showing that after this, well, now you can start seeing the Earth. So let's watch. Let's watch the Earth. Thank you, Wally, by the way. Wally, who doesn't understand most globe beings don't really understand perspective properly. They don't understand angles. They really don't. Now, what we just saw was, well, blackness, and then the panel started lighting up, and now we're seeing the Terminator. When we were seeing blackness, well, what was that blackness indicating? It was indicating the surface of the Earth with, wait for it, no lights whatsoever. Must have been the Pacific. Oh, well, even the Pacific has islands. And even those islands, the vast majority of them have people with, well, electricity. According to Wes Wally, small dwellings can be seen from the ISS at a similar angle to this. But strangely, we just saw, well, no light whatsoever from there. And they might be tempted to say, oh, it's because of the contrast between the panels. And it's like, no, it doesn't work. You see, We just saw the panels light up from, well, no light. See, let me just scroll to his there. Watch. Can we see? No light, no stars, no lights on the earth whatsoever. Now let's look at other footage. Let me close this. From the ISS. Oh, not only stars, but planet Earth at night time with lights on the planet Earth and an extra orange layer of atmosphere. I think they're supposed to be explaining or describing that they are within that orange layer of atmosphere, and the thin band in the distance, very, very blurry, that's, well, atmosphere from a different point of view, illuminated from, well, the sun. It's illuminating the other side of the Earth, in which case this is the night side of the Earth. This is the night side of the Earth from the ISS. This is the night side of the Earth from the ISS. Now let's watch. Let's watch for that orange band. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, that orange band. Can you see it? Orangey band. Yeah? Okay. Let's watch for that orangey band. First, no light whatsoever. No border atmosphere illuminated at all. No Rayleigh scatter or Rayleigh. I'm foreign. Scattering. No edge of the atmosphere lit up over there. No, nothing like that. The the Tesla Roadster, for you globelings who like thinking, okay, and puzzles and putting things together. The Tesla Roadster, when it was on the dark side of the Earth, showed the reflection of the dark Earth on its reflective surface. That reflection showed, well, a blue band of atmosphere, okay, but strangely no blue band of atmosphere here, but yes, blue band of atmosphere here. Watch, I'm going to rewind. You see what I mean? To the top of the screen is the edge of the fantasy Earth. You will see a little layer of atmosphere that gets narrower and narrower and narrower, but the orangey bit doesn't. Okay, the orangey bit that they forgot to render for this one. We'll keep watching until we're fully satisfied that what's beyond that dark line is not just dark Earth with no light, but it's instead the curvature of the Earth, with the terminator beyond our field of view. And that's it. We can determine already that the terminator is beyond our field of view. How can we determine that, Antonio? Well, because the curve is no longer going up on our screen. Watch, I will rewind and you will see, look. See where it is, very faded, and we're going to notice that it makes its way up the frame until it reaches a point where it no longer goes up the frame. The ISS has not changed angles, and there, the terminator is beyond the physical curved horizon from space. Now, we're going to rewind a little bit, and we're going to just do some analytical thinking, okay? We're going to look at what part of the Earth it is that we're seeing. See if we can determine what part of the Earth. That's Earth. It's not all cloud, okay? It's Earth. Okay. See, we don't recognize any kind of continent or shape or anything like that. Oh, well, we did. Well, I did anyway. Let's see. Let me pause just right. Go back a little bit. I'm trying to go back one frame at a time. There. Okay. What do we have here? Looks like what we have is Mexico below us with Baja California to the left. That open body of water would be the Gulf of Mexico. That cloud over to the bottom right will be clouds over, well, the tip of Florida. Yes, that's North America. We're flying south over North America. Okay. Now, if we were to now move forward, what would we be doing? We would be heading towards Western Canada and Alaska, which means that in the dark side of the Earth would be, well, Alaska. Alaska has people with lights. And so does Eastern Russia. It's not ocean. Do you understand? No lights. We're going to watch. In fact, I'm going to slow it down. Oh, some people. And part of me feels cruel for pointing this out because it is mocking the afflicted. But another part of me thinks, no, wait a second. These people, they don't have to, they're not really biologically afflicted. That would be cruel. These people, they are decided in their ignorance. They have determined, they have concluded, they're going to remain ignorant on purpose. So, no lights whatsoever. Alaska, Eastern Russia, no lights, none whatsoever. Western Canada, no lights whatsoever. None at all. There's a little bit of rendering of, well, land, but no lights. It's like, oh, okay, they're going into twilight. Fine. Why aren't the guys who went past twilight with their lights on? So there's just some random land, some random mountains. Oh, could they be the Rockies? Yes, they are where the Rockies are. That's interesting, isn't it? And then carry on watching and you'll see the Gulf of Mexico, and you'll see Baja California, and you'll see northern Mexico. That's right. Oh no, maybe you're seeing some other place of the planet Earth that has land too, that's adjacent to water, that has no islands nearby, nothing nearby. Keep watching. Scroll it up. So sometimes it does feel like you're mocking the afflicted. But then you have to realize, no, if people are stupid on purpose, they're not afflicted. They're not. You're not being cruel. You're pointing out ridiculous absurdities to people. In fact, if I'm not very much mistaken, let me just go back, that panhandle-shaped thing could be, well, the Florida Panhandle. That thing at the bottom, underneath the ISS, bottom of your screen. Could be, not saying it is, but it could be. That's very definitively Mexico. And to the left is Baja Mexico, Baja California. But no, the Earth starts in America. Now we're going to compare that Earth, which we might note has no orange halo extra atmosphere, with this one that, yes, has orange halo atmosphere. And the silly, grasping globeling might be tempted to say, well, you can see this glowing halo atmosphere when you've gone from daytime into nighttime and you're looking back towards daytime. It's like, really, can you find other footage of this? You won't. But you will find footage of, well, this, but the opposite way round. In fact, I might look for some. Not to mention the stars. You might notice, well, no stars. Again, the light saturation and contrast card can't be played because, look, as I go to here, because, well, no stars. Watch again. Thank you again. Where's Wally? Oh, play. No stars. No small dwellings. No small buildings. Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Remember, I'm not going to find the spot where those paraphernalia are dark too. I've shown it already, haven't I? So that's interesting, isn't it? None at all. Overhead. No stars. Nothing. Nothing at all. And yet, lots. Now remember, Where's Wally has not answered the question of the. I tell you what, I will show it. Tesla Roadster. SpaceX. They hate this foot. At first, they were watching it as if it was porn, and yeah, I'm going to say porn several times. Okay. So, I'm sure we're going to see different angle cameras, and we're going to see there's nothing in front of the roadster that could block light. But let's continue. So they haven't actually bothered addressing. Okay, move across all of the propaganda and the programming. Okay, here you are. Here it is, illuminated from behind. Here it is from the front. Okay, look, this is filming from the front. And we're going to see filming from behind. And we're going to see that when it's filming from behind, there's nothing in front of it that could shield the car from sunlight. See? Nothing there, just black. You see? Just black. Okay. Gonna move ahead. This is a rubbish video. Let's find another one. Oh, here. They still have it. They still have it live. Wonderful. Here we have the thing. Come on. And of course, globe charlatans like Wolfie and Where's Wally, they simply sidestep this question because they are charlatans. I'm no longer willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. You see, if they were really not questioning the shape of the Earth, they could be firmly convinced that it was a globe. But if they were really going to tackle this situation, they would look at how it is that the sun might not fall on the roadster and conclude not possible. In which case they have to conclude that this is fake. That's it. It's not. There must be something shielding it from the sun which we cannot see. That's not a possibility. So I'm going to go to the camera from behind where we see the Earth in front. Like here. Can you see how there's nothing in front of it that could block the sun? Do you see? Wally. So when the roadster is illuminated and like so, where the earth is gibbous, it is lit from up and to the right. There's light now falling into the Tesla roadster from the sun, but somehow not onto the Tesla roadster. Did you see that? Let's go back. Can you see? Oh, there's very faint light. In fact, it's casting shadow. I mean, this is just so much worse. There's light that's casting the shadow of the frame that's holding the camera. That light, which must be sunlight, is somehow so weak it cannot illuminate the actual paint job. But let's see what the paint job looks like when it is illuminated by the sun. Let's increase the Kelvin. Good Lord. Do you see, folks? So the Globeling, who still looks at this and still says this is real, it's not fake, is not an honest, sincere Globeling. He's a Globeling who is lying. That he's lying to himself doesn't alter the fact that he's lying, or she is lying. They're lying to themselves, yes. They then go on and lie to others. It's plain to see, it's there. Anybody can see it. Look, let's do it again. Right. Let's determine, where is the sun? Well, the earth is gibbous. The sun would be ahead of us and to the right. Very much to the right. Far, far away. Okay, let's move. Let's hit play. Oh, somehow, can you see how the sun's light is somehow, oh well, it's falling more weakly on the paint job. Let's move ahead. And now they change cameras. Wait. I mean, we flat earthers had a whale of a time with this. See, it's falling into the car, but not onto the car. That's a very peculiar situation. In fact, you might call that an impossible situation. Forget the lack of stars, okay? We're being generous and saying to you guys, what about the stars? Never mind that question. We'll pretend it's not really, we'll pretend like it doesn't matter that there are no stars whatsoever. Okay. Wally. By the way, in case you didn't know, I'm pretty sure you do. In Britain, a Wally is an idiot. And I know your name is Walter, so maybe you might call yourself Walt. You know, like Walt Disney, or simply Walter. But calling yourself idiot, it's a bit idiotic. I am just saying. Now, pause this. It remains unanswered, and it will just continue. It will not be addressed. It will not be answered. I'm going to show something else that will also be, it will go unaddressed and unanswered. So you could address it by just giving a critique, and an answer would be an explanation as to the how. So I'm going to play it with audio, and I'm going to, whilst I'm playing it, I'm going to go and look at the chat to see how everybody's doing. What's playing? What? Let me see. Okay, watching. Move ahead so that I'm caught up with myself on the stream. And it is boring, but you know, in war, everything is fair. And going over old victories like this, which the Globelings were celebrating until the flat earthers just started laughing their heads off. Then the Globelings started to kind of cough when talking about it, and then just no longer talking about it. That Iron Man launching from Earth is the same. It's something that they will just drop. This is what Marxists do. When they say, hey, fluoride, very good for you, let's all put it in our drinking water. And they go, actually, no, let's not. They drop it. They don't say, remember when we were telling everyone fluoride was good and we were putting it in the water? Well, then we dropped that, which meant it was our mistake. And that's why we dropped it. But we don't make mistakes, so we're not going to mention any of that. Hey, Wally. So we're going to watch this because it's just the greatest.
I wanted to first thank Antonio Subraz for pointing this issue out in his video.
You're welcome, Taboo Conspiracy. You're very, very welcome. It came to me from Phil. It was passed to me from Phil. It was given to Phil, or suggested to Phil, by Phil's father. Okay? So, I just made a video about it. I did not find it on my own. It was passed to me. And credit where credit is due, and you're giving me credit, which is great. But I'm giving credit to the guy who passed it to me. Why is that? Because it's kind of important to give credit. So let's watch this video, which has gone unaddressed by the Globelings.
Globeling accidentally destroys the globe. For this video, I wanted to quickly cover the Nicobine transmitters and how these transmitters prove the globe model false. You'll remember in my recent video on the ionosphere hoax that naysayers told Guglielmo Marconi that he could not transmit radio waves across the Atlantic Ocean due to the curvature of the Earth. In fact, if the globe model was correct, these naysayers were mathematically right, as Guglielmo's antenna should have been approximately 527 miles below the horizon at that distance. However, Marconi proved them wrong. Like Marconi, we run into a similar issue with respect to the World War II German Nicobine transmitters. I'll be referring to this Wikipedia article. The Nicobine system was developed to enable German bombers to accurately bomb England at night or in poor weather.
I have to say, first, the man who discovered that the Nicobine system was being used, who was a British physicist, he had himself proposed the same and had been talked out of it by his superior because the curvature of the Earth would make it impossible. So he had dropped it. Then he learned the Germans were using it. So, oh good God, the party line of the globe meant, I don't know, a few extra deaths of Brits. That's right, the globe party line meant a few more deaths. How many more deaths? We can't say. We don't know how many more deaths. But more deaths because of the globe party line? Yes. Do you see what we're facing here?
How it roughly worked was that one radio signal would detail the path of the bomber. The second radio signal from a different location would then tell the bomber when it was over its target. The beam from a single transmitter would guide the bombers towards the target, but could not tell them when they were over it. To add this ranging feature, a second transmitter, similar to the first, was set up so its beam crossed the guidance beam at the point where the bombs should be dropped. The aerials could be rotated to make the beams from the two transmitters cross over the target. The bombers would fly into the beam of one and ride this beam until they started hearing the tones from the other on a second receiver. When the steady on-course sound was heard from the second beam, they dropped their bombs. The Nicobine system was brilliant. But are you starting to see the globe problem here? Efforts in Britain to block the Nicobine system took some time to get started. Well, in other words, lives were lost because of this delay.
That's right.
British intelligence at the Air Ministry, led by R.V. Jones, became aware of the system when the Royal Aircraft Establishment analyzed a downed German bomber's Lorentz system and observed it was far more sensitive than required for a mere landing aid. secretly recorded transcripts from German prisoner of war pilots indicated this may have been a bomb-aiming aid. Winston Churchill had also been given ultra-intelligence from decrypted Enigma messages that mentioned bombing beams. When Jones mentioned the possibility of bombing beams to Churchill, he ordered further investigation. The British codenamed the system Headache. Many in the Air Ministry did not.
The name Knickerbein comes from a fable, Knickerbein, which is crooked leg of a crow. You know the term as straight as the crow flies? So this crow in the fable would fly very far away. This is why they called it this. Straight in the air line, like the path of the crow.
Believe that the system was in use. Frederick Lindemann, leading scientific advisor to the government, argued that any such system would not be able to follow the curvature of the Earth, although T.S. Eckersley of the Marconi Company has said it could. Eckersley's assertion was eventually demonstrated after Churchill ordered a flight to try to detect the beams. The RAF lacked equipment capable of detecting 30 to 33 megahertz Lorentz signals, so they purchased an American Helicopters S-27 amateur radio receiver from a shop in Lisle Street, London. The receiver was fitted into an Avro Anson and operated by a member of the Y Service. The flight was nearly cancelled when Eckersley withdrew his assertion that the beams could bend round the Earth. Jones saved the flight by pointing out that Churchill himself had ordered it, and he would make sure that the Prime Minister would get to know who cancelled it.
R.V. Jones is the guy who proposed the British develop this system first. They talked him down. The Germans developed that system. Then R.V. Jones discovered that the Germans were using that system. And lo and behold, they were. So the Brits started using it against the Germans too. But let's continue.
The crew were not told any specifics and were simply ordered to search for radio signals around 30 megahertz having Lorentz characteristics, and if they found any, to determine their bearing. The flight took off and eventually flew into the beam from Cleve on 31.5 megahertz. It subsequently located the crossbeam from Stolberg. Its origin was unknown prior to this flight. The radio operator and navigator were able to plot the path of the beams and discovered that they intersected above the Rolls-Royce engine factory at Derby, at that time the only factory producing the Merlin engine. It was subsequently realized that the argument over whether the beams would bend around the Earth was entirely academic, as the transmitters were more or less in line of sight to high-altitude bombers. Let me point that out again. It was subsequently realized that the argument over whether the beams would bend around the Earth was entirely academic, as the transmitters were more or less in line of sight to high-altitude bombers. Is Wikipedia right? Were the transmitters in line of sight to the high-altitude bombers? Line of sight is necessary because Knickerbein was a line-of-sight system. So, where were these Knickerbein transmitters? Here's a small map. Here's a video clip describing the curvature debate between physicist R.V. Jones and Churchill's leading scientific advisor, Frederick Lindemann.
There is a Knickerbein station at Cleves. Somehow, a transmission from it has been confirmed at this position over in England, and the simplest interpretation was that a navigation of aircraft had been out, located where the beam was positioned on this particular occasion.
Dr. Jones took the message to Professor Lindemann, his old tutor and now scientific advisor to Winston Churchill, and tried to persuade him of the serious threat posed by the Knickerbein beams. But Lindemann was not convinced, pointing out that at the high frequencies necessary for an accurate beam, the curvature of the Earth would prevent its being directed against targets in Britain. Nevertheless, Dr. Jones was convinced that his theory was correct, that the German bombers were using their Lorenz blind landing sets to fly the long-range beams. And if this was so, then the threat was very grave indeed, because all German bombers carried this equipment as standard. Therefore, all of them were potential beam flyers. But Lindemann was not convinced, pointing out that at the high frequencies necessary for an accurate beam, the curvature of the Earth would prevent its being directed against targets in Britain.
Was Lindemann right about the globe math? Lindemann was absolutely right about the globe math. The first transmitter was set up on Stolberg Hill, located near Denmark. The hill has an elevation of 142 feet. Let's say there was a 200-foot Knickerbein tower on top of the hill, which looks something like this, giving a maximum transmission height of 342 feet. The target, the Rolls-Royce factory in Derby, was at an elevation of 180 feet. The distance between Derby and Stolberg Hill is 443 miles. That gives us a target hidden height of 117,504 feet.
Are there any high-altitude bombers from the Second World War that flew at 100,000 feet? Nope.
The second tower was in Cleve. Cleve has an elevation of 39 feet, and add a 200-foot tower to get us to a maximum transmission height of 239 feet. Cleve was 331 miles away from Derby, England. That means Derby should have been 64,844 feet below the horizon. There is simply no way that there should have been any line of sight between the towers and the German bombers, which only flew at 19,200 feet.
Oh.
There would only be a line of sight on the flat Earth model. Looks like Wikipedia got it very wrong. In summary, the line of sight Knickerbein system is a very strong proof of the flat Earth and demonstrates the foolishness of those who believe in the imaginary curvature of the Earth.
It costs lives. Those people who believe in the imaginary curvature of the Earth have cost untold lives. That's right. That's right. So when you have the Where's Wallis of the world, let me go to Where's Wally. What they espouse has cost lives. That's right. Here he is. Now, we've already seen, I already showed yesterday that there's a little bit of an obsession going on. Wolfie has complained that I mention him in all my videos. I don't really. And he has complained that I use his name as clickbait. These complaints, wonderful. Where's Wally? Well, let's look at his videos. 1, 2, 3. Then my name. Let's see. Let's see if there are any more. And this is just in the last month or so. Oh, and another one, and another one. All the ones with Tintin, it's me. Oh, there, and another one, and another one. Oh, and there's Phuket Word. Let's see. Oh, and there's my map. Oh, and so I'm going to move on, by the way, to... and there's me again. He doesn't understand. So, the poor guy, look, he's done this. He has these hay bales, and he's put my face on top, which would make me a straw man. Now, the whole idea of the straw man is this. Somebody comes to you with argument A. Argument A is logically robust. You cannot respond to argument A. So instead, you respond to argument B, which is an argument whose premise is you are positing, and that is a straw man. You can then put the face of your opponent as if that's your opponent's argument. Exactly as shown visually by this half-wit who calls himself a scientist. He literally calls himself a scientist, by the way. He says, I am a scientist. Like, look, scientist, You don't fully understand the concept of the straw man. You're showing it with the images that you're creating. Do you understand? So when, instead of responding to what I'm putting to you, you respond to things that you choose to respond to, you're exercising the straw man argument. You're employing the straw man argument. You are creating a straw man so that you can pull it apart. Okay, you're way beyond your depth here, dude. Let's look at this one. And then I'm going to move to sailing speeds. Okay, we're going to move to sailing speeds. By the way, he made this video, this is his most recent video, after I said to him, you're to address the lack of direct sunlight on the car. But look, as I scroll through, you see that, well, he doesn't address the lack of sunlight on the car. I'm just quickly scrolling through. Hopefully you can see it on the screen. And yeah, no, not once, not a single comment about the direct sunlight on the car. Instead, this. What's it called when somebody puts something to you but you answer something else? A straw man argument. That's right. Now, unfortunately for you, this argument that you put has, well, blown up in your face, because we can see no lights whatsoever down there on all of that earth, which is there, but we can't see because it's in night time. So you think we might see its lights. And you might say, no, you can't see the lights, too far away. Well, sorry for you, dude, because you showed the lights in the other video. Remember. Anyway, now we're going to move on to, let me see. How should I do this? Should I pull up Google Earth? Yes, I'll pull up Google Earth. Just bear with me, folks. And we're going to go over the navigation speeds. Oh, yes, I know what I'll do first before I do that. I will go to marine traffic. Let's see if there are any fishing boats on the landmass of Antarctica. The globe's Antarctica. Marine traffic. Let's see. Because, of course, now, in that video, by the way, I also mentioned, I showed how on marinetraffic.com, it shows these rescue vehicles that are harboured around Antarctica. It shows one of them flying at an incredibly high speed, a speed that's troublesome for the globelings because, well, it makes my map look a lot more possible. So obviously, and I said, all that you guys will do is you'll just say you don't believe it, say that it's wrong. So what does Wally do? He says, I don't believe it, it's wrong. It's broken. That's right, there's something broken there. So let's see. Here we have an object. What's this? A search and rescue vehicle. Let's hit that vehicle and see what it says. It doesn't tell us anything about the speed. It doesn't tell us what type of vehicle it is either. Okay. And I will go to a different marine tracker. A better one. That does give us more details. Let's go a bit closer up. Because this one is not showing some of the buoys or buoys that the other one was showing. So, sorry, excuse me while I scroll. It's also showing features in Antarctica that aren't there on any of the globes or any of the other things. That's right. It's very funny. Okay, so that one's a bit crappy. Marine radar. So, here's the Earth from space, nighttime, no lights. Here's the Earth from space, nighttime, lots of lights. Oh no, this flat earther's comparing those night lights with these other night lights, and it's looking like the night lights from the ISS are just made up. Oh dear. Marine radar. I'm looking. Oh, sorry. So I show, hey, look at these things, and the reason I'm showing this, and I'm sure that because these guys, it's like a part of their intellect has been cauterized. Where? Marine traffic, I don't want that. Parts of their brain has been cauterized, their intellect. It's fluoride, guys, that's what does it. Come on, where is it? Why am I finding it so difficult? Let's see. When the other day it was like nothing, just write, let's see, this one. Anyway, what I'm going to show now is going to be ships that give you their speed. I don't know whether this site is going to let us show it. They show the speed. Never mind that, whatever that was. And their speed is much too high. There's one that harbours just here. Let me make that bigger. Make the whole thing bigger. Okay. There's one that hides just here. Very interesting. So if you spend any time here, you get to learn some of the things they do. Like this fishing boat, been there for a long time. But hey, it's fishing. So we're looking for search and rescue vehicles. Sorry that the display. So and this one might be, well, not showing the search and rescue vehicles. Because when you see search and rescue vehicle and it tells you it does 75 knots and it's a ship, then that's problematic for your globe. Nah, this one's rubbish. Let me go to another one. Ship tracker. There, let's see what this one gives us. Marine traffic, vessel finder. Let's see. And you can track the ISS. It's like, woohoo! Aye. So, I'm going to find one of the search and rescue vehicles and show their speed. Because according to that silly man, according to the Wally, that high speed, it meant that it meant it's broken. Let's hit that. Oh, doesn't give us any details. I think this might be a crappy site. I don't think it's going to give us details. Okay, so not this site. Let's see this one again. So, sometimes when what this tells you goes against the globe, then what this tells you is wrong. Okay? When what this tells you goes with the globe, then what this tells you is right. See, that's how it goes. Now, when somebody shows ISS footage that's CGI, and shows you it's CGI by comparing it with, well, other ISS footage, older ISS footage, shows you that it's not really ISS footage. See, dreadful, it's terrible. Well then, that person must be wrong because the ISS footage must be right. Wow, this is very zoomed in on a Mediterranean. Okay. But hey, do you know what? I do a lot of sighing, but the truth is I'm enjoying this. I don't see any ships in Antarctica today. See search and rescue vehicle, what's this? Class B, and it does 71 knots. What is this? It's something that does 71 knots, and it's just there in Antarctica. It's not moving in any direction, that's just the speed that it does, like its top speed or its average speed. Let's take a look, see. Right, what is this? Well, is it a buoy? Well, not likely. Why is that? Well, because it's 345 metres wide by 91 metres long, or vice versa. What is it? Oh, it's a beacon. It tells you it's a beacon. Oh, is it? Yes, it's a beacon for isolated danger. Okay, and it's a beacon that's 345 metres. It's a beacon that's as big as a ship. That travels at well, what did it say? Let's look again. Let's see how quickly that beacon travels. Start. Now, can we rest assured that not everything in Antarctica is being shown? Absolutely we can. They're not going to show everything. Of course not. We know there are bases in Antarctica and those bases aren't shown. So we can conclude logically that not everything in Antarctica, including not all the vehicles, are shown. Some things are shown though, and some of the things that have been shown before, which I showed in the video, were, well, shipping boats within the continent of Antarctica, where there's no little rivers. Now let's go back to that thing, which was here. This search and rescue, that can travel at 71 knots. But its course is 0. It is heading nowhere. It isn't heading anywhere, but this is its speed. Either its speed while it's not heading anywhere, or its optimum speed, perhaps. Let's look at its previous track. Let's see if it's been anywhere. And now zooming out. Trying to get it to zoom out. Because somehow, oh, let's see. Let's go back to it. And let's look at the itinerary. You see, and this is something that I'm going to put out there, which is a problem for you globelings. If for some reason these radar tracking systems are giving speeds to objects that are not moving, might that be giving the wrong speeds to objects that are moving? It looks like it hasn't moved for a while, but it still has a speed. Huh. It's a problem. Why would they be giving speeds to things that aren't moving? And if they're giving speeds to things that aren't moving, and are giving just entirely wrong speeds for things that do move, then how would you know what speed ships are travelling in the South Atlantic and South Pacific? You wouldn't, would you? Because we've just determined, if you're happy to determine that they're just entirely wrong about speeds, well then you have to conclude that, don't you? They're just entirely wrong about speeds there. So let me see if I can go to another tracker. Live cruise ship tracker. Oh yes, I know what I'll look at. I will look at Tristan da Cunha. Oh no, what's Tristan da Cunha? Oh, it's nothing, it's just a little island that's part of the St. Helena Islands. You know, where Napoleon, the real historic character, was sent in exile. That's it, he was exiled to St. Helena. And that's right tippy next door to an island called Tristan da Cunha. Somehow there's no travelling between the two islands. That's interesting. They don't go for festivities. No. Tristan da Cunha gets one ship a year. That's interesting. How many does St. Helena get? Well, the main island of St. Helena, it gets ships regularly from South Africa. What about Tristan da Cunha? No. Oh, that's interesting. How long does it take to get from Cape Town to Tristan da Cunha on a powered ship, like a motor-powered ship? 23 days. Good Lord, 23 days? How is it takes that long to get there? Look, see where that little orange, this tanker, okay? This is at a certain distance. Oh, by the way, you have on the bottom left of the screen, look here, you have a key, a distance key. Look how interesting this distance key is, okay? When you move around, it changes. That's right, because this is a globe. It changes depending on where you're looking. Now 1,000 miles is that long, now 500 miles is that long. Can you see? It's interesting. Right, so where these two are, okay, there's a cargo ship and here's tug and special craft. Here, to the day, there was a cargo ship and a cruise ship. That's right. So, where are those ships? St. Helena. Okay, so that's St. Helena, is it? Yes. Where's Tristan da Cunha? I don't know. How far is Tristan da Cunha from places? Well, you can check what they say in Tristan da Cunha, you can check what they say in Wikipedia, and then you can check with Google Earth and find discrepancies of, well, 800, 900 miles. In fact, just discrepancies that mean they don't really know how far exactly, or at least aren't going to tell people how far exactly. Now, the ship's captains will know, but they're under orders, of course, to not speak out of turn, and guess what ships go there regularly? The Postal Service, that's what. Do they swear oaths of allegiance? Yes. Do they sign the Official Secrets Act? These are British Postal Service. Yes, they do sign the Official Secrets Act. So, the reason I'm saying all of this is, if you care to look at Tristan da Cunha, and look at how close it's supposed to be to St. Helena, and how close it's supposed to be to Cape Town, and look to see how often they get visitors, you'll see that actually it's a bit more remote than that. It's the most remote island that's inhabited in the whole of the earth. The most remote. Good Lord. So when you look at this, and you go, okay, so let's see how fast vehicles are going. Let's look at this one. It's a fishing boat. Oh, not that one. There's the same that we just looked at. Oh, somehow today, no search and rescue vehicles. The other day, lots of search and rescue. Today, none. Now, at the risk of sounding conspiratorial, I would say they've just removed the markers for the search and rescue vehicles and for some of the other buoys. Ooh, what's this? Fishing. Oh. You know, that they were showing around here. Yeah, this time now just take them off. Yeah, it's causing too many questions. Just take it clean off. And the poor globelings. Yeah, we've gone all the way around. Yeah, remember that great big island here? in the other map, had a great big island here. Let me see if I can find it. We'll go to history. Yes, 1 second. Oh. Just 1 second, people, folks. I'm plugging and unplugging power supplies. Okay. Let's see. Marine traffic. Let's go to this one. So look at that great big bay. Okay. Now we're going to look at this one. And this is why the Globlings are not really making videos about yours truly's map. They can't. Because if they do, I will simply just compare my map with their maps. So, which means I will compare my one map with their, well, 7 or 8 maps. Depends how many I choose to look for. Because all of their maps are different. That in itself is a problem for them. So let's go down. Oh no, same one. Oh, let's see if this has any other ships. I will go to the other one. Yeah, it's the same one. So history, rain traffic. Yeah, same one. Marine radar. Ship radar here. Oh, that's the one. The one I'm looking. Oh, I don't have it. Let's go back. Oh, the poor desperate sods. I really thought, I genuinely thought, right, that they would pounce on it. They would pounce on my map and just start going on about all the things that are wrong with it, in their opinion. And can you see, folks? Now I'm going to compare your maps, Globlings, and this I will show in a minute. What's this? I'm going to compare your maps. So this is marine traffic, and this is also marine traffic. Oops, sorry. Ship radar. Let's see this one. Let's see. Remember where I said, look at that big bay? This big bay. Big, great big, cove. So let's look at it. Where is it? South of South America. I'm trying to zoom out a bit more. It's not letting me. Never mind. We can see where it is. Look. Here's South America. And there's Africa. So here's Africa. And here's South America. And here's that great big bay. Let's go in a bit. Okay. Now let's go to this one. Can you see any difference? Let's compare and contrast. Okay? Compare and contrast. Here's South America. And here's that big bay. Compare and contrast with, well, here's South America. Make it smaller. And here's this big bay. Again, compare and contrast. Big round hollow. Oh, all kinds of weird little features. big round hollow. All kinds of weird little features. This is just comparing two globe Earth maps. Great big hollow. Strange features. Big hollow. Features. Hollow. Features. So, to people in the chat, you might be wondering where all those globe blings are making videos about my maps, about how my map is wrong in terms of the location of, well, of the bodies of land within the big pond. And when you see this, lots of features, big hollow, then you understand why they're not doing a thing about it. But I did say I was going to go into sailing speeds. So that means revisiting the Cutty Sark. It's only 10:30, so yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the loo, make a coffee, and open Google Earth, and open Google, and look at the Catharsis 2, look at the Alea Perusa Trading International, or International Trading. That's Fedor Kunyakov. And the Cutty Sark. We're going to plot those on Google Earth. I've done this before. I told the Globling I would do it again. The Globling is having a problem with distances. He hasn't made a video about it, of course. He just says he's having a problem with distances and speeds and whatnot. So we're going to do that right now. When I come back, again, I'm making a coffee, so please, okay, wait, I will show you the other map. Again, this one. Oops. Oh, come on. There. I will just leave this one centered on the screen-ish, and you can just feast your eyes on the big hollow, and you can just compare it with this one. Hey, it's funny. Remember, and this is serious, the globe costs lives. It really does. This really is a war that we're in. Oh, I see somebody without a Royale Maxi YouTube. You can have a wrench too. There you go. And you're free to say whatever you want. There. So, enjoy. I will be back in approximately 2 minutes. I'm not going to bother putting the trailer park, boys. You're all adults, so back shortly. It's that time again. Okay, so we've seen when official data goes with the globe, globelings accept it. When official data goes against the globes, globelings, well, whoa. Globelings think that they can't distinguish between CGI and non-CGI. They think the Himawari footage of the moon, the dark side of the moon, okay, no less, as the moon transits the Earth, they think that's real. They say that's not real. They say, oh yeah, well what it is different layers and then that. No, you freaking moron. Like, that's not real. If they had different layers, like here's a green layer and here's a red layer, then, well, they would just show here's a green layer and here's the red layer. But it's not real. It's not real, dude. Anyway, so now what I'm going to show is something, a couple of things, and I do have an ace up my sleeve, so just bear with me a second. First I'm going to initiate Google Earth. This is going to take more resources, so there might be a couple of glitches. So I'm just saying that so people don't think it's all YouTube and whatnot. Okay, it's only fair. And in the meantime, I'm looking in the chat. How are you doing, guys? Robinson Caruso, Susan Dawson, my view, 1876. Tom Tom, Rick. It doesn't matter if Jesus Christ is alive. It works to get past it, guys. Believe it. Didn't quite see that comment, but I'm going to read it anyway properly. It doesn't matter if Jesus Christ is shall lie. If it works to get past the God, believe it. It's a bit like a slightly twisted form of Pascal's wager. But hey, never mind. Everybody, you have whatever beliefs you want. People are entitled to their beliefs if they're not entitled to anything else. Right. How about a working map? We have a working map, Rick, 1976, 1970. How about if the globe had a working map? That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Let's see. Jews got the Roman Empire in debt like USA and Egypt. Look, Rick, 1776, 1970. Just so you understand. Britain right now is going, and has been going for the past couple of years, through this thing called Brexit, which is arguments between the government of Britain and the government of the European Monetary Union. Now, this situation, which lots of people have said, oh, this is going to cause all kinds of financial problems, there's a simple way you can see that it is not going to cause all kinds of financial problems. Why is that? Well, because the Jews have not left in droves. Wait, that's a bit anti-Semitic. No, it isn't. I'm telling you guys that when things are really going to kick off, the Jews, who on average do have a higher IQ, leave the country where things are going to kick off. Why do they do this? Because whenever things kick off, people turn against the Jews, whether or not the Jews had anything to do with it. So now Rick 1776, 1970 is saying, well, the banks are Jewish and the banks made it, it's like, what about all of the other Jewish who are not bankers? What about that? So, just thought I'd point that out. Malia, hi. You're going to have a wrench too. Just give me a second. I'm still setting up Google Earth and whatnot. Add moderator. And now, guys, I have to look away from the channel and set up things that are embarrassing for the globelings. So, again, the deceitful, malevolent globelings just refuse to address these things. So just . 'Cause, 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 ' Sorry about the thing. Okay. Right. There. And move that out of the way. Oh, I will pull up. Just give me a second. Wait, I'll use the other window. I will pull up the Catharsis 2, just so people can see the details. 103 days to circumnavigate Antarctica, starting in Cape Town and ending in Hobart, Tasmania. You see, it's almost like divine providence is with the honest flat earthers, because let's face it, the dishonest flat earthers are suffering a hell of a time. But the honest flat earthers, like yours truly, we're loving it. Right, so Catharsis 2. And yes, that's how it's spelled. Vessel details, Catharsis 2. Let's see. Let's go to Antarctica. Antarctica. I'm looking for a Wikipedia page. You know, the fountain of knowledge. That's interesting. Usually, that would be like one of the first things. I might have to go to actually write down wiki. Well, good lord. Wiki. There you go. Oh. Well, it's almost like Wikipedia. I've never seen this before. It's almost like Wikipedia doesn't really want to write about the Catharsis 2. Oh, that is fascinating. Okay, so let's go to a different one. Facts. Catharsis to Antarctica expedition. Antarctica is Polish yacht Iron Hobart. Catharsis to visits Macau. First 1,000 nautical miles. Circumnavigation. Aha. Just waiting for the page to load. And we're looking for the details. Oh, it's a bit sketchy about the details, from what I see now. I'm quickly scanning for, well, it was 103 days, it's just a little longer. Oh, there's a human interest story. The voyage was postponed while Leniak underwent chemotherapy. Oh, human interest story. Let's see, where are the details of the actual, I want it nicely highlighted. Go to a different story. And that was facts. When I did facts, like, here's all these things. Well, that's not quite very factual. Wow. Just wow. Let's see. World record. There you go. This should be better. Guys, if you have pen and paper, just jot some details down. Get off. What the heck? Okay, I accept. Value my privacy. Oh, that's wonderful. We have been sailing along the 70th parallel. That means 70th latitude south in this case. Let's carry on looking. Oh, it looks pretty fast, doesn't it, behind there? Let's see. I'm looking for the details of how many days? It's blowing 25 knots, I'm sure it is. It won't exceed 35 knots, I'm sure it won't. We'll take a look at that in a minute. The wind rises to over 50 knots. Oh, well, that's immediately contradicted. And it exceeds 60 knots. Well, that's interesting. That's a chapter that the paragraph immediately following, the one saying it won't go past 35 and 25. It's 50 and 60. Right. Oh. 35 knots. Oh, there we go. Oh, problem with the computer. A second. And then entirely south of the 60th parallel. Okay, so all of it south of the 60th parallel, the circumnavigation of Antarctica. So all of it south of 60. I say that because I'm going to plot it on Google Earth. So I'm looking for the details of how long it took. It's 103 days, I know, but I need to highlight it for, well, for the skeptics. Oh, look, because they did this loop, it added an extra 2,000 miles. This loop. I'll show you what I mean by the loop. Oh, okay. Over the last 8 years, oh, never mind that. That's just. Wow. Oh, 100 icebergs. That's all right. They've got iceberg sensing equipment. Oh, it would take more than 120 days. But fortunately, wind picked up. But if the wind fell to 4 or 6 knots, and if leprechauns had wings, and 2 and 3 knots, oh, yeah, that looks like 2 and 3 knots in that photo right there. Still scanning. Circuit accomplished. Let's see. 102 days. Oh, and 23 hours. 103 days. I'm going to round it up to 103 days. Okay? So, 103 days. Now I'm going to scan for how long they say the journey was. So, 103. Catharsis. Let's see if it even tells you. That's interesting. It doesn't tell you. No, it doesn't tell you how long it was. That's interesting. So I'm going to plot it on Google Earth because I know the route. Okay, now we're going to go to Alia Perusa Konyakov. Alia Perusa. I think it was Perusa. Maybe Perusa. Fedor. Alye. Oh, well, it's spelled in various different ways because it's a translation from the Russian. Here. 102 days. So 102 days and 23 hours and 102 days. This dude on his own. So when I highlighted this, the Globe links, of course, they had a problem with this. So they said it must have taken 102 days because he was on his own. It's like, well, that's interesting. The Catharsis 2 was fully manned. So it had the full crew. It didn't need any more crew. Had a crew of 10. So he did it in 102 days alone. The other guys did it in 103 days, crewed. So, and his route was in the 40s and 50s, whereas the others were in the 70s. And you'll see 60s and 70s. So look, 102 days. We're going to look at the distance. Where's the distance? I saw it a second ago. 16,000 miles. 16,400. So 16,400 in 102 days. Okay, we can move this to the side and get this. Oh wait, before I do, just for you, for the guys that have a pen and paper, I'm now going to pull up the Cutty Sark. I'm just going to do the Cutty Sark fastest. Let's see what this shows. Now here it tells you the Cutty Sark 15 and 16 knots. Great. So I was taking a nice sailing. So there was a ship that was sailing between 15 and 16 knots, and it was overtaken by the Cutty Sark, which must have been doing, well, more. So they think, well, 17 knots. That's more. Yeah, could be 20. That's not a very good. Well, it was overtaken. So it was doing one knot more. Oh, okay. But we'll go in here because I think this has to break down. 150 days from London to Sydney to London. Not through the Panama Canal, which hadn't been opened, or through the Suez Canal, which had been opened, but the Cutty Sark did not take it. Right. Let's see. Let's go to performance. Performance, 17.5 knots. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go to the T erasers, I think it was. Later tea seasons. Let's see. Here we are. Okay. So, in 1885, Richard Woodgate was appointed captain on a salary of, never mind, and continuing to improve on the fastest trip record, achieving 77 on his first outward trip and 73 days returning to Britain from Australia. So that's 77 to and 73. Don't think it was some other trip. Okay, there's a documentary made about it, so don't worry too much about it. That's 150 days to Australia and back. So we'll plot that too. The only distance we have is the 16,400 for the Alia Perusa. So bear with me while I go through this one more time. Path. And we're going to go from Hobart to Hobart when Google Earth starts to cooperate. Right. This. As I go through this again.